November 11th, Remembrance Day, is the day Canadians remember the brave men and women who have served and continue to serve our country during times of war, conflict, and peace. Specifically, the First and Second World Wars, the Korean War, Afghanistan, and all conflicts in which members of the Canadian forces have participated to give us and others freedom. I have not sacrificed anything for my freedom. It was given to me by those who came before me and sacrificed so much. So now, it is my responsibility to never forget the service and the sacrifices of more than 1.5 million Canadian soldiers, sailors, and aircrew. They died so I could have the freedom to be here, to get an education, to get a job, and to live a free life. Because of these things, I am forever in their debt. This November 11th also marks the 100th anniversary of the poppy as a sign of remembrance. Since 1921, Canadians and many other nationalities have worn the poppy to commemorate the lives given in a service of a greater good. The poppy worn over your heart is a visible reminder of their service and of your gratitude for their sacrifice.
100 years ago, an inspiring woman had a vision. A bright red poppy to honor veterans who lost their lives in the First World War, and to help raise support funds to help others in the aftermath.
The idea was conceived by Madame Anna Guérin of France, sparked by John McCrae's poem In Flanders Fields. Anna had originally founded a charity to help rebuild war-torn regions of France after the First World War.
Poppies made of fabric were sold to help her charity. She presented the concept to France's allies, including the Great War Veterans Association in Canada, which later became the Royal Canadian Legion. The idea was adopted, and the poppy symbol made its first appearance in Canada on July 6, 1921, the year of the first poppy campaign to support our veterans. To mark the symbol's 100th anniversary in 2021, the Royal Canadian Legion produced a replica of the original fabric pin.
The familiar image has come to reflect the sacrifices of fallen Canadian veterans from all arms of the military and from all missions, including 2 world wars, Korea, Afghanistan, Bosnia, peacekeeping duties, and other assignments.
Canada's Parliament entrusted the Legion with the exclusive right to use the poppy as the nation's symbol of remembrance and to safeguard its image, a pledge it honors today.
100 years later, the symbol is unmistakable. Its meaning still deep.
The poppy of remembrance honors sacrifice. The poppy of remembrance cries, never again. The poppy of remembrance reflects solace and support.
Anna Guérin's vision lives on.
To learn more about how the Legion helps veterans, visit legion.ca.
The use of the poppy as a sign of remembrance was inspired by the great poem written by Canadian doctor John McCrae, In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow
between the crosses,
row on row,
that mark our place.
And in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below.
We are the dead.
Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved, and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw.
The torch
be yours,
to hold it high.
If ye break faith with us who died,
we shall not sleep.
Those poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
As you take time today to reflect on the service and sacrifice of so many, you are encouraged to search out the QR code poppies that are in the hallways of Brooklyn High. Each poppy shares a unique story of a Canadian that chose service over self. We will now listen to a choral reading of an original piece produced by Mrs. Little's English class.
What is remembering? How do we remember?
Bowing our heads in silence when the classic pipes play. How do we remember when seas of faces blank, thinking only to continue their day? As the air begins to chill, we are asked to remember the past. As the air begins to thicken, we grieve over the loss of too many souls. As the air fills with the melodies of trumpets, remember why we meet. Remember why we stand in silence, as we remember the bodies in the streets.
We come together each year to remember all who have fallen. But as decades roll by, we forget what started it all. For those who died by the sword and with the screams that shook, how can we remember you when you're a page in an old book?
We get so caught up in not seeing the past, we have forgotten to see the present. History once again repeating. The legacies of those who have fallen for us unraveling. Blood running through the fields. Screams chorusing till there's a symphony, fading till there's only a memory. No matter how long the memory stays, the red and white of flowers and graves. Timeless, ugly reminders, sprouting from the seeds of hate.
Lest we forget
their legacies.
Lest we forget
the battles and the fights.
Lest we forget
those who were never found and those who returned physically but not mentally.
Lest we forget
the sons and daughters who fought for us, the mothers and fathers that sacrificed too much.
Lest we forget
all who have fallen. Now we bow our heads and thank them with a scarlet poppy on our coats.
To wear red and bow our heads down
Is the least we can do.
To support all who gave for our country and for peace. To us they pass the torch,
Which we will hold on high.
Trying not to break faith with those who died. As the last post plays, we lift our bowed heads.
We will remember.
Please stand if you are able for the playing of the last post. It will be followed by a minute of silence and reveille. As we stand here in peace and safety, we pay our respects to all of the fallen, all of the wounded, and all who served in conflicts over the last 100 years. Today, as we should every day, We remember those who volunteered, sacrificed, served, fought, and died for our freedom. We thank you and we salute you as we salute those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. We will never forget, we will remember. Thank you for your attention and respect during this Remembrance Day presentation. You may now continue with your class.